Hello, you beautiful people out there, and welcome to the Banner Gaming's Ahead of the Curve, Episode 9. Today, we talk about Warcraft news. Just kidding, there really is no Warcraft news. But we will talk some Warcraft. We'll get into Diablo and the patch 2.4.0. We're going to go into some Esports news. Let me get a cheer. Woo! That was a terrible cheer. And we're going to go into Overwatch and story time with Janine, with a sprinkle of Overwatch news. This is your host, Kimosabex. What's up?
I'm Naomii.
And I'm Wisdom. This week, well, as always, we're going to start off with what we have done so far in Warcraft.
Promise? Don't lie to me.
No, I've done zero things because school, so I don't play Warcraft anymore.
I've been lied to in the past, and I can't take another. Now you have no Warcraft talk for me. Well, I did something in Warcraft today. Or not today, but, this week. I got Valor to get the Fel Essences to help my hunter level up his ring.
Noob!
Just like a dirty noob, according to Wisdom. So, I got 3 upgrades
words
on my
in
ring.
my mouth. That was still
we
not
are
what I
actually twisting Wisdom's words, so.
Yeah, well, what are you going to
He's
do?
not
Do
that
the
mean.
twist?
He's a little mean, not that much.
Like you did last summer. Anyway, I got some of that, and I like how Wisdom completely forgets that he led Mythic this week, apparently.
He doesn't count that as doing stuff, apparently.
Yeah, we're just killing Mythic bosses. We're not doing anything. Wow,
to
elitist.
get their act together.
What did you do this week, Janine? Naomii. I said your name.
Shh. Nobody says my name. So, this week I did Valor, I did Mythic rating, I did Wrath of the Lich King Time Walking, which was very fun. And I got all my stuff upgraded, and I got cool gloves during Mythic rating, so I'm happy.
How did you enjoy the time walking? Because I know you didn't play during Wrath of the Lich King, so, did you feel like you were experiencing it?
It wasn't hard at all, so I guess not. I didn't feel like I was experiencing it in the era at all.
Well, you did have a pretty skillful group, if I do say so myself.
I did better damage than you most of the time.
Lies.
Plus, you had Burn to carry you through, so.
We had, during when we were farming for Valor, we had a tank that had such a bad attitude, and I was like, I miss Wisdom. Where's Wisdom?
Yes. He was like, if you took Wisdom's skill, let me rephrase, if you took Wisdom, and then, the elitist that's in a tube encapsulated, if somebody just went up to it like an anime with a hammer and broke it and the water fell and he rose out, I'm the elitist monster that Wisdom keeps trapped in his head. It was like that. It was
he wasn't
was such a jerk.
Good either. He pulled everything, told us all to just die, and then we would res later. It'd be better that way than killing all the mobs.
He was good enough for me to stand his elitist, because if he was bad in that, I would just kick them. But it was rude. Everything was rude. Just was a picture like 90% of the thoughts you keep in your head if you would just say them. I'm just playing, we love Wisdom. Don't take that.
Goodness, yeah, you guys are making me out to be really a monster this week.
A monster.
So I will say I got into a heroic Manaroth pug and was severely disappointed because we didn't actually end up killing the boss. We got him sub 5% on several pulls, but I gave up eventually because I was hands down the top damage besides a monk that I was actually, their gear made me a little bit envious inside. Just fully Defiler's End full mythic gear, just ridiculously well geared to the teeth. Windwalker just doing stupid damage. So he was trumping everybody. He was doing something like 15% of a 20-man group's total damage. But everybody else, it's the 2 monks on top and then everybody else, and it's this is unacceptable. I'm at the same eye level as other DPS, and I should not be beating everybody else. That's just not how it should go.
And just so if you're
Did
a new
you
vet, if you're
miss us, Wisdom? Did
If you're a new viewer, Wisdom's a tank. That's why you're saying his DPS should not be the highest one in the group, in case you're wondering. So you led us some Mythic this week, rating. This was our first week into Hellfire. Monday we got down, or excuse me, the first day we rated.
In just an hour, we got Hellfire Assault.
Yes.
Which was about what we were expecting.
And it was good because it was like every single wipe, we got a little bit further. People understood a little bit more what was going on, and we killed it. For some reason, Fel Reaver was an issue.
Still is. You say it like you've got through it. It's just...
He means Iron Reaver, if anybody's wondering.
Oh, yeah. Well, names. I have a reputation in my guild that, I pronounce people's names wrong sometimes, and that nickname kind of sticks. So
he couldn't even get my name straight for, the first 2 months we were dating. He called me Mancini, Ginny Mancini, and I'm like, it's Manikini. Like bikini. Why is this hard for you? Sorry, go ahead.
Well, so, for those who don't know, I mean, if you've been in Hellfire, Mythic, yeah, it's slightly different, but if you get hit by Barrage, you die on Iron Reaver. And, we're a heroic guild, and we're ahead of the curve 2 nights a week, only 6 hours a week, so we are fairly skilled, but it's, we can't have people die on Mythic level content, and especially when we don't have Mythic level gear, so it's
to perfectly avoidable damage.
Yeah, and it's we would do the fight, and it would always be somebody. So, you have 20 people in Mythic, so it's everybody has to be... I have not experienced the rest in Mythic yet, but I feel like Iron Reaver is a great test of your skills, because you have to, 1, keep your rotation up, 2, you have to be aware of where the boss is and what move he's doing, whether it's Blitz, and that's where he zooms back and forth, or he's barraging you. 3, he throws bombs out everywhere, so you have to DPS the bombs and get them down before it goes away, while watching the boss, while making sure you're not in his line of range. And, there's phases you get artillery stuff, you have to move out of the group, so you have to be aware of where you are, where your targets are, and what the boss is doing. I feel like it encompasses a really good aspect of what makes a good raider, while keeping up your rotation. And it was just one of those, everybody died, at least one person died every time, and it was a morale killer, so it was second barrage, at least one person would die, and it's just come on. I know we have 20 people, and it's 1 out of 20 makes one mistake, and it just busted the morale. And then next raid, we did have the attendance boss. We did make progression on Iron Reaver. We got farther than we ever had. I think it was 23%. And then it was just and I think we could have got it that pull too. And it was just people got distracted. Barrage came and they didn't move. It's just simple as that. You have to stay focused all fight.
Yeah,
so
just consistently losing people across any given encounter. I mean, it's not like we lose one person and we call for a wipe. It's not at the point where the damage or the healing is so far behind that we would need everybody for something like that. It's just a matter of every time a barrage goes out, it costs us a player. So we get into the first intermission, and it's at the point where we've only got 12 people left, and then that intermission, we get through the intermission, but then we can't kill the boss in her next ground phase. And then by the time we get back into the next air phase, we only have 5 people left, and it's just not, you can't be losing one person every, 25 seconds in a fight like that. It's just not feasible.
And I don't know about the other people, but for me, when you see one person die to barrage after you've been doing the boss for 2 hours, it's demotivating.
Even our co-GM Squid started getting all aggravated, and he actually came out of his shell and started talking to people and being like, yo, this is how you do it. When barrage comes, get behind the boss. And I thought that was good that he came out of his shell a bit. But if the morale is so low that the quietest GM is having to start to yell at people, Well,
I still enjoyed myself. It's weird. I never thought I would enjoy Mythic so much. One person makes a mistake, you pretty much wipe, and it's really enjoyable. But our co-GM was making a great point how the barrage goes in a V, So the closer you are to the boss, pretend the boss is my nose, the less you would have to run side to side to dodge the barrage. So, like, people would still be, pretend the nose is the people, instead of the people being here, people would still be back here. And I'm like, I know after a while people tune out to an extent, but it's like, I repeated it every single wipe, and then I would just make people stand in a 10-yard rage unless they had the orb. So we did make progression. It's new for our guild, so...
But it is fun, because you have to pay attention, and you can't zone out, and you can't be bored. You have to be on top of it. I coughed at one point and got stuck in Blitz, so, like, you have to be on your game at all times.
I don't know if you could tell, but me and Naomi are a little sick. She gave me this wonderful cold, which I greatly appreciate.
I think it's the flu, because I've been on antibiotics for 5 days and it's not helping, so.
Yay! She gave me a legendary flu.
Let's transition our way over into what little Warcraft news we've actually got on deck today. So one of the first things that we do want to start off with here is, for those of you who are in the US, well, prepare to be disappointed, because China has got a whole new pile of stuff available to them through their version of the Blizzard store that is not obtainable in the US.
Do they have unobtainium, the rarest element in the world?
Not yet. However, they do have things like hoodies. So just to preface, this is not in-game gear, though I wish it was. This is all like real-life stuff that you actually have to put on you, and so
on your body.
It's kind of weird.
Find on it with IRL.
It's weird.
Once you put it on, it doesn't come off anymore.
You have to buy another epic hoodie to replace it.
Damn it, I disenchanted my old one. Why did I do that? So we've got some of these are actually kind of cool. We've got styled hoodies. So we've got a Deathwing one that's actually got like horns and stuff on the hood.
We're going to put some pictures up for you guys over our faces here just so you can kind of see what we're talking about. I assume these will come to the US shortly. It's probably just a shipping issue that China's getting them first. I'm guessing Wisdom disagrees by his head shake.
Of course.
He never disagrees with me, though, so it's very abnormal. But
you can probably get them illegally, right?
I can't imagine it not being available in the US.
Get these things.
Wisdom, can you fly to China and just grab me some of these and then fly back?
Tell you what, I am closer, so I will do that if you guys each pay a third of my ticket.
What if we pay for swimming lessons instead?
You can swim there.
I can manage the swimming part already, actually. So like maybe if you want to put some money towards a boat, I think that might be a little bit more. Anyway, so we've got a Deathwing hoodie, a Thrall hoodie, and a Lich King hoodie. They all look cool. The Thrall one's a little bit derpy, but I would like to see a little bit of Alliance representation. That might be fun, though maybe they are deliberately catering, to the China market, who largely play Horde characters. I don't know. I don't have the stats for that. But I would be willing to bet that it's deliberately tailored to them because they're not coming to US, at least as
you said
right
tailored now. And it's closed.
Don't do the humor.
I would love like a Draenei hoodie.
That would be cool.
Or like Draenei headset with like the horns. Like, I don't know, I would love something like that, even though that's
actually for the cosplay people who love to watch our show. I'm sure that there's a whole horde of you guys already. Stay tuned. We've got some interesting news about Overwatch and cosplay, so stick around for that.
You said horde while talking about Warcraft, but you weren't talking about horde.
Moving on, we've got some bracelets and jewelry and stuff like that. I want to point out the Pandaren scroll necklace. I think that looks kind of cool. It's got like some faux Chinese Pandaren writing on it. Following up their Overwatch varsity jacket, they've also got some Hearthstone themed varsity jackets. So for people who actually like to wear that stuff, that's available.
They look really cool. I really like the varsity jackets. I wish these were like cool when I would like. I feel like nerd culture is like, nerds used to be something that people would like kind of look down upon, and now nerd culture is like the cool thing. So like, it's like I'm proud to be one of those people who've paved the way, and I'm not afraid to be who I am. Like, I'm a nerd. You don't like it, too bad. But like, I could see kids totally wearing these into like high school and not get beat up. Like, these are awesome. These are really, really cool looking varsity
By the time
jackets.
we have kids, this will be like the cool thing to do.
Yes.
Your kids will get beat up because they want to go to the gym instead of play video games.
Exactly. It'll be like the football players getting beat up.
Son, I'm so disappointed in you. Why couldn't you be like your old man and do 75k DPS? But Pops, I want to go to the gym. I'm like, no.
No, you stay inside and you play your video games.
And I'll be like, babe, we need to accept our son the way he is. Let him play football, damn it.
But Dad, I don't want Cheetos. I want a protein shake. You're not my son.
All right, moving on.
We've got some other cool merch. There's a Hearthstone hoodie, and I actually like the glow-in-the-dark Baneling shirt. I think it looks pretty cool, even though I don't play StarCraft. There are some more Murloc figures, like the short little, like plasticky things. We have a lot of people who are really excited, at least on the US forums, about these desk storage boxes that look like a tiny version of the Alliance Keep or like Orgrimmar.
Cool.
And then there's a tiny replica Dark Portal. I imagine that those are going to be really popular, so if you're looking for those through a third-party retailer, I'm sure that that's not something that we should be talking about, but it's probably going to be out there if you're willing to pay for it. And lastly,
I see like this mini Dark Portal. Could you imagine, like, just if it worked?
Oh, I think it's probably about a foot wide. I think it's a little bit more substantial than that.
Yeah, imagine if you put, like, your hand through it, though, when it was a portal, and then, like, at work just chopped it off, and you pulled your hand back, and you had no hand, and you're like...
Alternatively, you get them in sets of 2. So you give one to your friend, and then you put your hand through, and it comes out through the other set. Like the other half of the...
Oh my god, we should get those and do
I
that.
could come up with
Cheetos through the...
I could come up with, like, 20,000 dirty jokes, but...
Yeah.
Oh,
We're going to
God.
keep this show's level at cursing at the most. So, moving on, there's USB drives.
Yeah, these are cool. I actually am not a huge fan of the art, but I like the idea. They look like the Pandaren elemental spirit. So there's one, like for those of you guys who collected the battle pets, because I know that you're good at game and you like to do that kind of stuff, those are all available. There's one for each one of the 4 things. And then there's some other associated stuff. There's some phone covers and there's an Alliance umbrella. And then we get into the stuff that matters. There is some expansion-specific merchandise here that's actually kind of cool. There's one set for Mist of Pandaria, and there's another for Wrath of the Lich King. This is actually, it looks like some really nice and really high-quality stuff go into these. There is a set of chopsticks. Well, in the Mist of Pandaria set, there's a set of chopsticks, like nice-looking chopsticks. Some
Cool.
like red envelopes. There's a Warcraft-themed journal. And most importantly, there are panda-themed paw pillows that are black and teal that should be in my apartment but aren't. And then for Wrath of the Lich King, there's a box of stuff with like a writing set that comes with looks like a big journal. And then it's got like actually a wax seal thing that you could apply if you wanted to like put seals on envelopes and stuff like that, and like a big fancy feather writing pen and stuff. So
Yo, it looks like one of those medieval shows, you know, where the king puts his official stamp on it and like the envelope seal, and oh, that's so cool.
Arthur spends all of his time doing that. That's why he's stuck in the throne. You know, he's just writing letters up there all day, and then when the heroes show up, he gets to go do something interesting.
I'm a firm believer of writing letters and journaling and being classy and all that. So I would love to have this set. It looks so cool, and I just imagine like this old-fashioned desk and me sitting there writing in some fancy dress. Sorry. But that looks so awesome.
Yes, so the panda pillows. There's also a panda like neck brace thing that like the thing that you take on the airplane. So I'm going to need all of those. I will send everybody P.O. Box information through the description if you're interested in sending us stuff.
I really think that chopsticks are cool. So, Wisdom, since you don't believe they are going to be coming to the U.S., which I can't imagine
all of this stuff will get ported over. I think a lot of it is tailored specifically to the Chinese demographic.
Why would they come out with all this and not give it to the U.S. though? Eventually,
well, they've done other stuff like that before. I mean, there are some in-game pets and stuff like that you can only get through promotional events that take place in different parts of the world, and those have largely not been in the U.S.
Yeah, but this is like merchandise that they pay money to make. I mean, they're not gonna, even if like say the hoodies would be really highly say they sold 75% better in China, why not just make it an offer in the US though? Because it's just an extra sale.
Yeah. Okay.
I hope they come to the US.
I
really
think that
want
there's
to.
actually a bit of a trend where there's more in the non-US stores. And I don't know about the EU store, but I think that there's just generally more stuff available in different locations. And that may be because, like 80% of the player base in China will also buy things from the store if it's, relevant to them. But if, at the same degree of relevance, you see a much lower purchase rate in the US. I'm sorry to make it sound all mathy and economical here, but if it may just be more profitable for them to put real life things in stores like in China and Europe and not in the US because people in the US can't fit into any of the stuff that they produce anyway, or
Wow.
I don't know. So I that may have been a mistake.
It's okay. We understand.
Listen, I used to be 250 pounds. I lost 80 pounds coming out of high school. So I
just asked me to be sassy. This is what you're gonna get.
I can approve that joke.
He found this sweatshirt that he wore when he was like 6, and I fit in it, and I'm like, yay, this is amazing.
It was more like
it's the
when
comfiest sweatshirt ever.
10, but yes. Anyway, I was a pretty big kid. Anyway.
Yeah, so I guess that there's from what we've been reading on the internet, there's a bit of a trend of transitioning some of this stuff. Notably, there is like a backpack, like a Horde themed backpack, and I guess that has been ported into the US store either now or in the past. It's not entirely clear, but it looks like some of the stuff, it does get transitioned, but not all of it. So I'm not anticipating being able to get my hands on all of this stuff. If I was going to bet, I would think that something like the hoodies would be fairly popular. Or maybe even the varsity jackets.
If they don't bring the chopsticks over, I'm gonna call racism on Blizzard.
I'll split the package with you if you'll send me the pillows.
I would honestly, I would buy the chopsticks. I eat enough Chinese food.
I think it's a package.
Oh, is it?
I assume maybe I'm wrong, but
oh, I didn't know it was a package. But anyway,
I don't know.
Oh
no, they're not. I'm crazy.
So, one of the big concerns amongst the community was, if you were a druid, how were the artifacts going to affect you? Now, they said pretty clearly on that they were going to change your shapeshifts. But people were still concerned about the coolness factor and whatnot. And I gotta say, we're going to put a couple pictures up of the druid shapeshifts. Wow. Like, if you're a druid and you were worried about that, don't. These forms look amazing. It must have took so much more time to make these forms in like a weapon, I would think, because of all the pixels. I don't know, but they are great.
So for those of you who are interested in getting a closer look at them, you can go ahead and check them out in detail on the Wowhead Model Viewer. Again, we always recommend that you guys go there to take a look at the different things that are available. They've done a really nice job this time around with the artifact weapon previews. So personally, I'm not a huge fan of the cat form ones, but I imagine that's just my taste. There are a handful of different bear form ones, though, that I'm pretty excited about, which is great because bear form's all that matters when you're tanking.
Let me tell you, check it out. We're going to put some pictures here. It's amazing. They did a really good job.
I'm mad because the Druid's transmog sets are amazing, and I'm not a druid, and I want their transmog sets, and now they have this kick-ass transformation thing going on. I'm very upset. I'm very jealous and very upset.
We do have a few too many hunters. I mean, I don't think we need 7 hunters for a 20-man group. So if you feel like re-rolling, let me know.
That's my problem. I can't give up on Naomii.
For those who don't know as well, the Pit of Sauron has been added into the time walking rotation. So
for Wrath of the Lich King.
Yes, for Wrath of the Lich King. It was one of those that they added mid-expansion for Wrath. It didn't come out with the opening, and it was definitely, I think it was one of my favorites.
I like that whole set of 3 that came with that. There was Pit of Sauron, and then there was like that Escape from the Lich King one, and then the Halls of Reflection, I think, was the last one. I remember really liking the polearm that came out of Halls of Reflection, the Orca Hunter's Harpoon or whatever that was, because it had such a unique model that it was like always glowy and it looked like there was wind on it and something all the time, whether or not it was enchanted. And I was cheap in playing a hunter, so that was all that mattered.
Yeah, I wish they would have came out with all three. That would have made sense, like, so people could like kind of experience like boom, 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 because it tells like a story. So I kind of wish they would come out with all three and like maybe have alternate time walking, like something where you could like have the option to go back to back to back. But it's a start. It is one of my favorites. I feel like that's all we got for Warcraft news this week.
Yeah, that pretty much about wraps it up. There's not much going on. The alpha is still down, so we're not going to have any more Legion news here until that starts to come back up. But stay tuned, because that's going to be relatively soon. I mean, the holidays are over, and they said that when the holidays were over, they would be giving us alpha back. So look for stuff. There's going to be news.
Oh, yeah. So let's get into the Diablo news. So, Diablo patch 2.4.0 is coming out soon. Now, this is great. Blizzard's not making any money off this, and they're still producing content to keep Diablo players happy. I think that is an amazing gesture on Blizzard's part, and there is quite a hefty patch coming up. So, what do you guys think about the patch? A lot to go into.
Well, I like that they're sort of running almost a reverse CM. I mean, you brand it with CMs, and I'm probably going to be interested. But the idea of having sets that are not only buffed by patch 2.4, which I think is a good thing, but also have, once you've completed the set, their own sort of unique dungeon for the given class. I think that that's interesting and engaging. I mean, I do like it when there's a lot of class-specific or class-designed content in games, and seeing some diversity that's exclusive to particular classes isn't something that I feel like we get enough of in Blizzard games. It's something I would really like to see more of. So having something more substantial like that in Diablo, and still seeing that that's something that's active and on the developers' minds, I think is nice.
Absolutely. So, like, there's a couple things going on here, but I want to talk about today the zones. So, with the new features, you have the expanded zone. So they're expanding on a couple things. To read off the patch notes real quick, the Sanctuary grows a little bit larger. 2 existing zones are receiving new, fully explorable additions. New bounties, new events, survive the hunting grounds of the fierce Yeti in the Eternal Woods, a new branch of the ruins of Sescheron. I probably butchered that, zones. And Leoric's Manor becomes a bit grander beyond the collapsed stairwell in Act 1. So
I actually like the idea of having them add a new content that you can see, but there's just like an invisible wall or a closed gate that you can't go through. You know, it's just pointless patches.
I can't get to it.
It's just there. It's like, you know, there's a boat that goes to Northrend, but it doesn't actually stop. It just keeps on sailing past the port.
That's kind of
It never
funny,
gives you a
actually.
chance to get off. All right, guys. Yeah, there's Northrend. Thank you for paying $30 for this additional expansion.
You try to fly off the boat and you die instantly.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Or it just teleports you back on endlessly.
That sounds awesome, actually.
This is the content we pay for.
Oh, man. So, oh, look, the phone's ringing. One of our callers must be calling in about that idea, saying how amazing it is. Now, there is a new island called Grey Hollow Island. My voice is cracking. I'm just turning 14. So, the mysterious forested locale of Grey Hollow Island is now open for exploration. Inhabited by new enemies and steeped in intrigue, brave the new wilds and unravel the enigma behind the isle's mysterious inhabitants. Be forewarned, however, the land is hungry for blood.
Well, I'm not super intrigued because I'm a little bit surprised that there's no. I mean, take this with a grain of salt because I'm not really a hardcore Diablo player, but last time we got a big patch of content that included the new like cube legendary that lets you do all sorts of interesting things and craft new stuff and convert between items and do stuff like that. And that seemed like a really interesting kind of utility thing that players wanted to get their hands on. It doesn't seem like we've really gotten a point so far of Grey Hollow. I mean, sure, there's going to be quests and some story, and it will engage players, but it's not. It's more like the Timeless Isle compared to, at least in my mind, compared to, like patch 6.2. It's there's a new place where we can go off and do some stuff, or we could follow Gul'dan and finish off the Legion theoretically this time around. I mean, it's just this. It's like it doesn't continue the story meaningfully, at least as far as I understand it, which makes it a little bit surprising to me.
Yeah, but you can't compare like apples to oranges. I mean, people aren't paying for Diablo monthly, and there's no like direct monetary incentive for Blizzard to produce more content for Diablo, except to keep people in the universe. So like,
but I mean, the trend is changing. Before, it seemed like we saw something that was story relevant, and I mean, some of these patch notes are sassy enough as they are because they're written by Death himself and things like that. I thought that was interesting, but it just, even relative to the other free, not monthly payment content that they've produced, and some of the things that they offer, there's not even like, oh no, we need to go out to Grey Hollow because there's a thing out there we need to go get. It's just, here's more stuff to do, which is great, but at the same time, it's just different and a little bit unusual to me.
I see what you mean. There's also, a new feature, which you touched on, the set dungeons. So the exact patch notes currently as it stands are, test your mettle against one of 24 custom-designed set dungeons. Each dungeon features a pre-generated statistic course designed entirely around a specific focus class set. Don all 6 pieces of your chosen set and visit Leoric's library to obtain a clue on where these hidden trials are located. Hunt down your dungeon of choice and master it to unlock exclusive cosmetic rewards for one more, or for the truly dedicated, all of these challenges.
That's pretty cool.
That's a big feature, I think. I think that's pretty cool for a small game.
More of this in Warcraft again. Like, let's get a monk specific, because I mean, who cares about the other classes? We can build on the proving grounds and make it more interesting or something. I mean, the framework is there. I just don't know why this isn't getting spread around. So I'm excited. I wish I played it enough to be able to jump right into this when it was going live instead of having to put in all of the effort to get up to speed.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool, and I agree with Wisdom. I think they should put more stuff like this in World of Warcraft. I would like it, even though during garrisons, I hate going on there and having to do my missions and stuff. That was awful. But if I had to travel to a different area and I had to look for something like clues, in order to get something cool or get a piece of equipment that's really nice or something like that, I think that would be really awesome. And I think they should definitely think about that. If you're listening, Blizzard.
I mean, if we want to kind of go the cosmetic route, and I realize I'm going to be harping on the monk examples a lot here, but...
Well, they better be doing that in Legion. No fucking garrison table shit.
But even to get into, raids or something, that would be cool. If you have to do a quest line just to get into a raid, that's kind of cool, too.
Well, my dear Panda Baby, that's how it used to be. Like this
Panda Baby. I mean, I realize Christmas is over, but still, can we get this remastered?
There used to be a really, really long quest line and attunements for a lot of the raids, even some for the dungeons. You had to do stuff to get keys to get in certain dungeons, and that's something that went away.
I understand that, but from what I remember of all of the tales that I've heard from you old veterans of World of Warcraft, you all hated that. But I feel like they could make it fun in the way that they have everything set up in Warlord of Draenor and the way they want things to be set up in Legion. I think they could make it fun without making it, horrible the way that you guys talk about it. Oh, I had to go get this. I gotta get this.
Fool!
They can make it fun.
1, we did not hate it. 2, we loved it. What we hated, and I think I speak for the majority, I could be wrong, was there was no, it was a really, really long quest, and it was epic. But to play any alt, it didn't unlock it for all your characters. So any kind of alt was really out of the question.
The leveling process itself was so time-consuming that just getting alts to cap was
an achievement.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. They could work with it and make it fun for everybody.
Yeah, there's ways that they could do it. And, back when we first started WoW, there was, you go to the quest now, it'll show you where to go, what to kill. Like, there wasn't any of that when we first started. You had to find your own stuff. You had to go to like Thoughtbot and find out where you're supposed to go for each quest.
But that's what I mean. They don't need to do something like that. It doesn't need to be. I wouldn't want it to be for everything because I don't have time for that shit. I would like it to be for certain things. So because we're doing Mythic, we would need to do some kind of test first so that we don't die to Barrage or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I think it should be a little bit harder to get into the harder kind of raids. You know what I mean? Kind of like how we had to pass challenge mode.
This is glorious.
No, I agree with Wisdom on that. Like, I think that there are certain things that we do need to pass, and that's coming from somebody who's kind of a noob in certain areas. I would like to have to learn something before I go into a Mythic raid and wipe somebody, a few times or whatever. I agree with Wisdom on that. I think that they need to have more steps in the process. I'm not talking about everything, Wisdom, just so you know. I'm not talking about every raid or every quest. I'm talking about once in a blue moon, every couple patches, they should have, something that you have to pass in order to get to the next level of...
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting idea. In a lot of ways, it used to be that way because... the old, like, you think about ICC stands out to me as a good example. People used to love to do gunship on heroic because it was functionally the same fight regardless of the difficulty, but no one ever could switch it to heroic mode because in order to have done that, you needed a kill of Lich King on normal on the relevant difficulty before you could switch it over. So that was the kind of thing where I think it would be kind of cool if even entering was conditional, but I could see how a lot of people would be upset when it comes to things like alts and split runs and stuff like that.
Right.
Where, you can't expect... Well, it would annihilate the concept of doing a split run, which for people who don't know necessarily what that is, it's when you have a group of, 20 players, let's say, because of Mythic, and you have 10 of them be, like your one tank, 2 healers, and 5 of, or like, half your DPS and things like that. And then the other half of the raid team, it's still those same 20 players, but they are on alts that fill in the relevant roles. So then you can push all of your gear instead of splitting it between all 20 people, you split it just to the 10 who are on their mains. And then you flip the sides around where you have the other half of the group go on their mains instead. And so it gets you double the gear, really.
Guys, this is supposed to be Diablo.
Nobody likes Diablo.
This is a good point. We're talking about this.
Nobody plays that game.
So
except for the millions of people that do, but
except for that.
There wasn't enough Warcraft news. I only got to talk about panda pillows for a couple minutes. I need to vent.
I know. I'm feeling WoW deprived.
All right. So we're gonna get into more of the Diablo patch news next episode. Promise, and we'll try not to make it all about Warcraft, but they are right. And I actually...
Do you agree with us?
Yeah, I think it's actually more of a simple fix than people make it out to be. So the concept of the legendary quest line, which people kind of have to do to get into raiding.
I'm so happy right now. Sorry, go ahead.
So
that it's recorded. Doing
the legendary quest is like almost a requirement to get into, a good raiding guild. It's not a requirement to walk yourself into the dungeon, but guilds have made it almost a requirement pretty much, to seriously raid. So even though there's not an actual gate blocking you, it's still a gate. So why not take that, make it account wide, make it fun, interesting, long, account wide. Did I mention account wide? And then make it, and then you gain entrance, you get your legendary or whatever, but like the concept is still there, whether there's an actual gate or not.
I feel like I'm right in between Wisdom's Extreme and Jeremy.
So, but we'll talk about that. Actually, that might make a pretty good deep dive video. But let's go into, next week we will cover more of the Diablo patch. But due to time, let's go into the Overwatch news.
Alright, so today in Overwatch, we will be talking about Winston, the lovely gorilla that you see in the beginning of the preview. You gonna show it?
Yeah, no, I'm going to. Start your story time. I was waiting for you to start the story, and I was going to dramatically change scenes into Winston.
A super intelligent, genetically engineered gorilla, Winston, is a brilliant scientist and a champion for humanity's potential. The Horizon lunar colony was established as a first step for humanity's renewed exploration of space. Among its residents was a group of genetically enhanced gorillas that were intended to test the efforts of prolonged habitation in space. So this is like a space gorilla experiment. One gorilla displayed such rapid brain development from the gene therapy that he was taken under the wing of Dr. Harold Winston, who taught him science and inspired him with tales of human ingenuity. The young gorilla passed his days assisting with the scientist's endless experiments, watching the distant blue world outside the habitat window, dreaming of the possibilities that awaited him there. But his life was thrown into chaos when the other gorillas led an uprising. Sorry.
I mean, this gorilla uprising doesn't sound...
Uprising of the gorillas!
I've never heard that kind of story before.
They killed the mission scientists and claimed the colony for their own. Taking on the name of his beloved human caretaker, Winston built a makeshift rocket and escaped to Earth. There he found a new home with Overwatch, an organization that represented everything that he had come to admire about humanity and love. Winston was finally able to live up to the heroic ideal that he had been instilled inside of him. Now, with the fall of Overwatch, Winston has gone into seclusion, once again cut off from the world he believes in, but longing for the days of heroism to return. Oh, I love him. He's such a sweetheart. And his feet are kind of normal, like Wisdom said earlier.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not terribly, like, there's... Been looking at the picture for a while. I don't think that there's any weird issues with it.
So apparently they can get gorilla feet normal, but they can't figure out humans.
Well, it's easy. You just draw the hands again, I guess.
That's true.
Winston! So, he is
He looks badass.
Yeah.
He's a disc priest. He has power word barrier.
So he's a space monkey that his friends had an uprising, he didn't like it, and he built his own rocket and left.
I really
Space
want
monkey.
them to make movies out of these stories. I feel like they can make such a good movie out of that.
I like these stories. I think this one was a little silly,
I've
but
got a series you
I'm
could
digging
watch if you wanted to read something similar.
But let's go into some of his moves and what he does. So, Winston has a couple different attacks, and, you know, his role is a tank. So, his first move is Tesla Cannon. Winston's weapon fires a short-range electronic barrage for as long as he holds down the trigger. So let's check out Winston's Tesla Cannon. And I guess Tesla is also, like, you know, short for Nikola Tesla, who did the electronics.
There we go.
I knew it would come to
Yay,
me.
putting it together.
I knew it would come to me if I thought hard enough. Meh.
Reminds me of the StarCrafts episode that Carbot does, where the engineers just start zapping each other.
So he likes electricity.
Well, see, this is how they make him science-y, because he's got glasses, so he's clearly a nerd. And
Clearly.
he fights with the power of electricity and wears a spacesuit. Plus, they managed to work in the phrase gene therapy, so he's got to be special.
Gene therapy.
His next move is called Jump Pack. Now, what Jump Pack does is, assisted by his energy pack, Winston lunges through the air, dealing significant damage and staggering enemies that are nearby when he lands. So let's take a look at Jump Pack. Bum, ba, ba. So he has good mobility. He's a tank with good mobility. I mean, mobility's been a key role for tanks for, I mean, not just in Warcraft, but really in Heroes. That is huge, so you can get in front of his team, protect other members, slowing, stunning, whatever other things come along with, you know, soaking the damage and peeling enemies off his team. So it's not surprising that he has a ability that allows him to be mobile.
I like the next ability that he's got, Barrier Projector. Not only because it resembles a Disc Priest, and so it's got to be hilariously overpowered, at least for now, but I just mechanically, I like those kinds of abilities that have meaningful ground effects and stuff like that. I'm actually surprised that we don't see like a Healy version of this in Heroes.
I'm sure we will.
Well, because I mean, Zeratul already got his stasis zone thing, and that's what this makes me think of. But I'm surprised that we don't see I thought that Morales would probably have something along these lines.
Well, with his force field, I mean, it's kind of essentially what this is. It's like a Disc Priest. It's a bubble, and you can fire in it, but people fire against it. It absorbs damage till it's broken.
I do like how easy it is to tune something like that, because if it is really overpowered, it's not hard to just change the health of the shield until it's in a sweet spot.
Yes. So let's take a look at what Barrier Projector looks like. So it is like a enhanced version of like what Wisdom said. It's a shield. You can shoot out from in it, which is really cool, because that would just get annoying and it'd probably be trolling if you could kind of trap your teammates, like Nazebo trolling, where he puts up
oh no,
walls of zombies around his friends.
Oh,
I could see you being Winston. He's kind of panda-ish. As panda-ish as probably you're gonna get in Overwatch, and he's a tank. So, how do you feel about him so far?
I think he looks kind of cool. I mean, I'm not sold on his ult. That seems like it's actually a little bit counterintuitive because of the ability restriction it gives you. I don't think that it's probably potent enough. I wish that there was like a physical interaction with Barrier Projector where enemies couldn't run into it or something like that, so you could actually use it as zone denial for a little while, kind of like Mei's Ice Wall, where you can put it up and actually block somebody into a corner or something like that, and use it to either trap people inside or something like that. And then use Primal Rage, and then it becomes a very much, you're trapped in here with me kind of a thing, where you can beat the shit out of somebody and they can't get away from you, because all you're using for your ult is your melee abilities pretty much. So
well, that'd be really cool if it was like an upgrade or something you could get mid-fight and kind of choose, like you can't shoot, like your allies can't shoot out of the projector, but you can trap other people in it. That'd be kind of hot.
Then it becomes like a you die or I die kind of thing.
Yeah, and then the Primal Rage would make a lot of sense. So what his ability is...
Of course, Wisdom would love that.
His ult...
It's your skills against mine now, bitch.
His ult is Winston embraces his animal nature, significantly boosting his health and making him very difficult to kill. Strengthen his melee attack and allowing him to use his jump pack ability more frequently. When raging, Winston can only make melee and jump pack attacks. So let's take a look at this. I think that his ult has a lot of potential, and if balanced correctly, can be very useful with the mobility. And if he does enough damage, essentially what it seems like is, with his boosted melee damage and his increased mobility, he kind of makes enemies want to run away from him and fear him. And that can essentially peel people off of your team, off of your healers, your assassins, and kind of give your team a little bit more breathing room when they got to run away from a berserk tank with extra HP and extra mobility.
Cosmetically, he looks pretty cool during his ultimate with his eyes. There's fire, lightning shit coming out of his eyes. That's
I actually
cool.
think it's interesting you say that that would make people be afraid of him, because I was just thinking that there are a few heroes. I mean, I'm not particularly experienced with Overwatch, but in Heroes of the Storm that I think of as being scary to go up against. They have abilities that concern me. I don't want to be fighting them on some heroes in particular. But this isn't one of those. I don't feel like if I was playing against a Winston, I would feel particularly intimidated unless he's just hilariously overtuned. If he manages to be as tanky as he's supposed to be, yet does as much damage as a DPS, and has that kind of an ult on top of it, that would be pretty concerning, but I don't imagine it would actually get balanced like that. So,
So you're saying he might look scary, but his moves might not be as scary as they seem at the moment?
Yeah, I don't feel like he would be particularly intimidating.
Yeah.
To go up.
I wonder why he moves even when he is in his shield.
Oh, well, they're just doing, I mean...
Probably reaction. They're probably showing that, you can't get damage through.
And it's not attached to him. That would be one
that's
of the
true.
possibilities there, is that...
Whoever did these videos for Blizzard, this guy, Winston's not attacking walls, so...
That's good.
This guy does not hate walls like the rest of them do.
He's smarter, obviously, since the glasses,
Oh, yeah.
So, that includes our story time with Janine.
Naomii.
Whatever. So, I am very excited for Overwatch. I really hope to get into beta this time. When it does come back around, I think it's going to be phenomenal. What are you whispering to me?
Not for you.
Sweet nothings.
Yeah. All right, so if you are excited about panda pillows, let's do another show on panda pillows later.
Oh, jeez. Deep dive about the
have,
panda pillows. Does it mean
I'm going to
to
have
take
panda
over the
pillows
world?
just stacked up to the ceiling back here.
And Wisdom's like, yay, comfy pillows.
Mm-hmm. I'll replace the scarf with one of the neck braces and stuff.
There you go.
Nice. Well, listen, guys, we hope you enjoyed the episode. Thank you for watching. Fingers crossed to get into betas. Come on, Blizzard. Do me a solid. This has been Kimasabix. If you liked our video, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you like the art, please check out the wonderful artist link below. And in case you didn't hear me the first time, this is Kimasabix.
I'm Naomii.
And I've been Wisdom. As always, we would love to hear from you guys, so please let us know down in the comments, what do you think about patch 2.4.0? Clearly, we are not the most experienced people for Diablo in the whole world, but we would love to hear what you guys have to say, especially if it's a game you play. If you want panda pillows or really any of the stuff that we've seen that's been made available to the Chinese Blizzard store, please let us know, because the more people who get excited, the more people, and the higher the chance we will be able to get something like that in our US store. As always, thank you for watching, and have a good night.
Bye-bye!
Oh my god, he looks like a checker bandit.
Put a little energy into it, Wisdom. Put a shot of B12 in your ass. Let's do this.
That sounds very unpleasant. All right, let's go in 3, 2.
Everybody look at the camera. 3. Everybody good? Anything else to say about the clothes? You good?
Let me get back to the show notes. Panda pillows. Still need to underscore panda pillows. Okay.
What the?
No, we've got to go live with that.